Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner. Unfiltered commentary. And not your truth, the real truth. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thank you for your support. Welcome back from Fox News. Now, this is a subject that particularly triggers me. Illegal, unlawful immigration, whatever you want to call it. Because my people, my father's people, came over legally from Italy many, many years ago. And they go through all the hoops and pay all the money, just like the ones they do now that come through legally and pay thousands of dollars for filing fees and lawyers. And people that came across illegally broke federal law are now suing the United States for separation of families. You got to be effing kidding me. But here's the part that really rubs my behind. Sorry for the expression. That's an old expression my grandmother used to use. Joe Biden, as it says here, perfectly comfortable with DOJ settling with illegal immigrants separated at border. But the White House indicated DOJ would not provide settlements of $450,000 per person as reported. Biden's quote was, when Peter Doocy asked this, that's garbage. Well, what they forgot is the people that are really the president, the department heads and the DOJ and every other department who are really the president, unelected, faceless, nameless, forgot to tell the actual president what the policy was. Oh, crap. You didn't send out that memo to Joe? Oh, man. That's exactly what happened. But now they backtrack and say, well, it's not $450,000. We didn't lie. They're going to get $250,000, whatever it comes out. That's more than 90% of hardworking American people get to save in their retirement. And they get it for free. Tax-free, I might add. That's like if I broke into somebody's house with one of my kids and they call the police and they show up, and I put the parent in jail for breaking and entering, and the kid goes wherever he goes, family, foster care, or whatever, that person that broke into my house can sue the city and the police department for separating them. You know what? I'm going to use the word straight out. I know some people don't like that, and I want to tone down my language. This is bullshit. Now, what they're saying is, we'll go through the story. What they're saying is it's much cheaper just to pay them off than to pay to go through the hassle. I thought to myself, how could that be possible? You're still paying the same federal judges. You're still paying the same DOJ representatives and lawyers and staff, and all those things are still there as a cost. And then it dawned on me, oh, it's the free lawyers that these people that broke the law are getting because they're entitled to legal representation under our Constitution. Isn't that interesting? Then I thought to myself, okay, I used to be a businessman. I'm a practical guy. If you can cut your losses, even though it's not your fault, of course, they're blaming the Trump administration, the previous one, for their illegal and immoral practices. What is more dangerous and psychologically damaging to children? Separating them at the United States, where they're put in a very nice facility and treated very well, top-notch food, clothes, entertainment, school, vaccinations, God knows, smallpox, the works, all for free. That's more damaging to them than drag them across hundreds, if not thousands of miles through rough terrain, 50-50 chance that your kid might die, but yet the one that's at fault, which is the parent that brought him or whoever dragged him across for whatever nefarious purposes, can't get into that because YouTube doesn't like it. That parent is not responsible and gets to sue. Now, I live in upstate New York. Even if they get $250,000 instead of $450,000, you can buy a nice house up here for $100,000 with a decent yard. Yeah, this isn't like a big city. You go outside the big cities, you can find some housing, even though the prices are going up. You can get a decent house up here for $100,000. Fixer-upper for 60, 70, 80,000 if you're handy. That's amazing to me. That means they'll have well over $150,000 at 250 to invest, maybe put into a money market fund or an investment fund to put their kids through college. Where the American taxpayers that paid those taxes to do that can't do that, and their kids are up to their necks in student debt. You talk about justice? They broke the federal law, period. I'm not saying throw them in the gulag. They had to be separated in many cases because you couldn't establish if that was the parent or close relative because of the trafficking that's going on. It's amazing to me how these people get to screw over the United States. And not just by themselves. They really have no power. All these NGOs and all these progressive agencies are the ones that are profiting from this, from the legal free representation. It's not free. They're billing the hell out of the taxpayers to push an agenda that the American people don't want. They think it's wrong. So let's see then. Every single person that goes to jail for, say, drug trafficking, non-violent crime. He won't use a gun crime because it would be a poor example because these people didn't commit any violent crimes, as they say. Okay. You go to jail for stealing a car or selling drugs, and you're a single parent. Whether it be male or female, doesn't matter. And you go to prison, and your child ends up either with a relative or foster care. So that means the person in jail can sue for psychological damage to their child and them for being separated? Are you out of your effing mind? But I think the most important thing to take from this story, and I'm just going to go through it here, and we're going to see a little bit from this woman. I hate to be critical, but these people suck so bad. Peter Ducey is following up on the Biden's claim that the report administration will pay $450,000. Migrants separated from their families under Trump are garbage. Now, this is when Peter asked the question here.
And then President Biden is calling these reports about the administration paying up to $450,000 to illegal immigrants who are separated from family members garbage. He says it's not going to happen. But the ACLU says that it is. So who is right?
Are you talking about the question you asked him yesterday?
Yes.
So if it saves taxpayer dollars and puts the disastrous history of the previous administration's use of zero tolerance and family separation behind us, the president is perfectly comfortable with the Department of Justice settling with the individuals and families who are...
Now, think about this for a minute. They get to demonize Trump again. That's their mantra. Trump, 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 Trump. He's so far in their heads, but that's a different issue. So they get to demonize him to justify this craziness. But here's the other point. What about future presidents? When we have a real president, someday we will, hopefully, thank God. God willing, we will. That president and that administration's hands are tied. They set a precedent. You start paying these people off for enforcing federal law, where does it stop? And what will the next president, the president after that, and the president after that do? This is nuts. They're setting a policy in place that's permanent. Permanent. Policies aren't permanent, but they're making it so. They're very clever people. They're deceitful, they're evil, they're extremely clever, though, and they're not stupid. It was their own people, the progressive NGOs and a lot of the people that are on their side, they were benefiting money from representing illegals that were separated from their kids at the border. So now they're saying, we're just going to pay the, I use air quotes, migrants directly. This is nuts. And this is going to have to happen now for every single presidency after this. And if it doesn't, it'll tie up the courts and spend hundreds of millions of dollars in legal fees for free representation. This is nuts.
currently in litigation with the U.S. government. DOJ can obviously speak more to that process. The president what he was reacting to was the dollar figure that was mentioned, that you mentioned to him yesterday. As press accounts to date indicate, there's been press accounts on this, DOJ made clear to the plaintiffs that the reported figures are higher than anywhere that a settlement can land. Again, this is something that the Department of Justice can speak to. I do not have anything more to add to this.
But if he's not okay with $450,000, how much money is he okay giving these?
This is again, Peter, this is something that the Department of Justice is going to handle. I just laid out what he was thinking. And
now, what she's saying is, and she's really saying it almost directly. She's very clever, though, how they worded this. We're not sure what the amount is. Why? Because the president doesn't get to decide. The bureaucrats that are really president, the people, the faceless, nameless people that are unelected and weren't elected behind the scenes that are really the president, they haven't decided yet. Settlement, how did it even get into court? Motion to dismiss is it's right the first thing people do when they're sued in civil court. Motion to dismiss because the claim is frivolous. How did it get to even the next step? Every single federal judge, when the illegal migrants lawyer filed the lawsuit, the DOJ should immediately file the motion to dismiss. This is nonsense. There is no case here, and the federal courts allowed it. And there's your bureaucracy being president. I don't like Joe Biden either, but he is the lawful president. Now, we can debate how that happened. That's a different issue. They haven't told him yet what the policy is. Must be President Biden is a little bit behind on reading his memos.
How the process was moving forward. The DOJ will talk to the specifics of this.
So what changed then from yesterday? You're saying that he would be perfectly comfortable settling with these families who broke the law to come here, but yesterday he said that's not going to happen.
First of all, let's remember how we got here, how we got to a place where we're dealing with families being separated.
And there it is, deflection, how we got here. It's Trump's fault. Zero tolerance for breaking federal law and illegal immigration is not outrageous at all. In fact, that's why there's another caravan, as they call them, coming. Because they see this. They're not stupid. They're going to bring kids now on purpose and hope they separate them so they can get some cash. These people are nuts.
This is coming from the last administration, cruel, inhuman, immoral policies against just people. It's separating. Against
people that broke the law, and that you just can't cross the border. Their ideology now is the law. You just can't stop people and incarcerate them for crossing the border into your country unlawfully. You just can't do it. Yes, you can. Countries have been doing it for centuries. Around the world, they do it. Try to sneak into Canada. Know what we should do? Take a whole bunch. I would willing, as a taxpayer, take a whole bunch across the border illegally, put them on buses or planes or trains, whatever you want to do, bring them up to the Canadian border, and let them loose. Let Canada take care of them. Let's see how their liberal, ultra-progressive prime minister thinks about that. It's not immoral. It's sad, and it's really sad these people are coming from horrendous circumstances, but it's not our fault. We take in 1/2 of the world's refugees. Half in the entire world. We do our share.
Children from their families, 18-month-olds, 2-year-olds, 5-year-olds from their families. That's how we got here, is because of the last administration. This is what we're trying to deal with here in this.
Oh, so you get the cutoff. There's a cutoff date for age. So if you're 7 or above and you're separated, it doesn't count. But if you're 18 months, it is. These people are nuts.
Administration. So let's be very clear of how we got here and what's happening. Anything else that you would like to know about this? Again, I'll send you to the Department of Justice. I can't speak to.
And there you go. Deflection. Talk to the Department of Justice. They're really in charge. The president isn't. See that little symbol behind her head? The White House? She's right now representing the White House, i.e. the president. But Joe Biden isn't really the president. So she told Peter Dooley to get a hold of the DOJ, who really is, in this particular policy case, the president. And that's the reality of it. If it saves taxpayer dollars and puts the disastrous history of the previous administration's use of zero tolerance and family separation behind us, Barack Obama did it all the time. Unbelievable. These come to the Porter-in-Chief, Barack Obama. The DOJ can obviously speak more to that process. Yeah, because they're making the policy, not the president. And all you Biden voters out there, is this what you voted for? That you had some cardboard cutout of a president where the bureaucracy is really the president? This is what Trump warned about, the deep state. And everybody laughed. That it's just nonsense. This is insane. I'm not going to read through this whole thing. I'm just going to, if you can stop the video and read it if you want. Yeah. It's amazing to me. Absolutely amazing. And there's a big gap in the wall. A pair of migrant families from Brazil passed through a gap in the border wall to reach the United States after crossing from Mexico to seek asylum in June of this year. Isn't that convenient? Unbelievable. He was asked a question and he answered directly, she said. That's it. He was asked a question and he answered. I mean, there's nothing more to add to that. In more specifics, I would send you to the Department of Justice. And there you are. And there is the picture. That is the picture of this issue. From Brazil, just walking across the border. Welcome to the United States. This is how countries disintegrate when we lose faith in our institutions and our laws. Maybe that's what they want. Maybe it is time for separation. And the vast majority of the border states, Texas is a classic example, are going to be deep red states after this. All the congressional districts that were plus 10, plus 15 Dem are now plus 20 Republican. Maybe the Democrats see that they're going to be pushed out of existence, at least for the next 10, 20 years, and they're doing as much harm as they possibly can before they leave. Who knows? I'm only speculating. This is nuts. Look at this photograph. Until next time, folks, goodbye and good luck.